Hey you guys, okay, so today we are talking under eye, concealing, care, whatever you want to call it, products from my most tried and true way to conceal dark circles and make your under eye area look flawless. I haven't really done anything to it yet because we're going to do it together. Two of my biggest duds and completely overrated products. We're going to talk about it all. I'm going to share with you guys some tips and some little tricks. Whenever I wear over or off the shoulder top, it's like you make the slightest move and it's like bloop. Just so I don't have to keep moving it down. Okay. Find my brush. I don't want to use. Okay. Actually, I gotta go get a brush. Hold on, real quick. Okay, so before we get to the duds and all that, I'm gonna share with you guys how I conceal mine. So when you do your makeup, you can do your eyes perfectly, you can have your foundation perfected, but if your eyes look shadowy and circly, it kind of wrecks the whole thing. I typically don't like to put and just pile on my foundation all up under my eyes. I think it's a prettier look if you can just, get your foundation, you can kind of blend it just so that it's not really heavily up under there. But where it just meets nicely, I don't think I would really cake that on, because the thing is, the more products that you use, the more that you layer that just don't work well together, the more you're gonna get creasing, it's gonna look crepey and cakey. And I think that whether you're on the side of really setting your under eye concealer, or whether you just want to just put concealer on and just leave it and let it fly, I think that you can get a good result with both if you use the right products. And I'm kind of somewhere in between. I just say kind of use common sense there. But I'm gonna show you some products that I have been using under my eyes, powder wise. Do you guys remember? Okay, this totally gave me a flashback. The Benefit Powder Flage that I used to be obsessed with. I'm talking maybe 7 or 8 years ago. And what's crazy is they discontinued it. It was in a little container just like this. It was pink, and it was this perfect pink powder, and you could just put it on over your concealer. You could use it as concealer. It was brightening. It made your under eye look flawless. And right before the whole crazy baking, let's put 5 different powders under our eyes, they discontinued it. So I really think they kind of missed, the whole boat on that. But I used to love that so much. But anyways, I wish it were still available. But I'll show you guys some under eye treatments and stuff at the end. But let me just go through and show you what I do. Okay, so before I start my makeup, I've been using this. It's the Chanel Hydra Beauty Micro Eye Gel. And it's what is that? It's a really nice, just thin, nice gel that makes your eyes look a little plumped up. And I think that if you have the issue of your under eye area looking a little hollow right here, make sure you're hydrated, make sure obviously you're getting enough sleep and stuff. But use a product like this, it really does help. So I've been using that and I love it, and it's not too heavy. I do that before my foundation and everything. Okay, next. Something really nice that I have been loving is this Tarte Pearl, and this is sort of a pre-concealer treatment, or you can use it as concealer, but I feel it just kind of makes my under eye area look even more moisturized and pretty, and it kind of gives it already a little, a little bit of correction, which I like, and it's got some pearl reflective powder or pigments in it. But the thing is it is so thin and nothing, you just really have to use a little bit of it. I used what I used on this side for this side too. If you've got really shadowy eyes, it might not conceal the whole thing, but it sure does lay down a really good base to start from, which I think is really cool. Speaking of, if you have really an issue with major creasing, which I do right here, right under my eyes, sometimes over here, although since I have been using this religiously, the Rothschild Retinol Supreme Eye Serum, I never get that anymore. So pro tip, use this and spread it over here, and I'm talking at night. So that serum, use it at night. It has really sort of refined this area, and I never crease there anymore. It's just right here, But if you've got a lot of, like I said, a lot of creasing issue, this is a good product. It's the Becca, what is it called? The Under Eye primer, and it doesn't lay down blue or anything. It's literally just like what a primer would do for your face, where it just kind of blurs you know, your imperfections and just lays down just a canvas to start from. And it's not greasy at all. So I like that. I use it, I don't use it like daily, but sometimes I'm like, if I'm just really gonna be like going all day, this is a really cool product and I would definitely recommend that. And you could put this right over it. It's just thin products, right? I hate to see when people do like really heavily pigmented products, they keep piling them on and then they put a powder over it. We're gonna do all these things. We're just gonna do it like in a really thin way. So it feels like there's nothing there, but you see that really brightened it up. I have so many concealers that I love. Like I said, we will get into the duds, but I really love this one. I find that if you are, maybe you have like more olive skin, you have super, super bad dark circles, you can do all those tricks where you do the red and you do this and you do that. I get it, that works. But I would say just day to day, if you've just got like minor like shadows or even just regular like dark circles, find yourself a good concealer. Don't go nuts. Like use a primer, use some kind of little pre-thing like I showed you, whether it's just this colorless Becca for your lines, whether you want to start with something like I did that's a little color correcting but also kind of gives you some benefits because it's slightly hydrating, and then go in with your concealer. Now, over the years, like there has been times, and this is my all-time favorite under eye product, the MAC Prep and Prime Radiant Rose. You guys have heard me talk about this since literally probably day one on my channel 10 years ago, like no joke. This stuff is amazing. I cannot even count how many I've had. It's a, you know, you can use it as, you know, a highlighter and you can, you know, do all that. It's a genius product, but what it does to your under eye area is insane. I can sometimes use this by itself, but sometimes that gives me kind of a like the opposite raccoon effect where you're too light. So what I like to do is find a concealer that truly works with your skin tone. One that might match it almost exactly, just slightly lighter. That was my problem. I used to always say, oh, give me just the lightest, and sometimes I still do take the lightest. But I used to just totally make that so light. What I like to do lately is take a concealer that is slightly lighter, but works with my skin tone. You see what I mean? So this is the by Tarte Terribly Denseless Concealer. And it's anti-wrinkle, anti-dark circle, an eye bag serum corrector. So it's not just like a makeup-y concealer. And see, like I'm already kind of scraping the side of it. I've used this so much since I got it. And I will honestly say I feel like it was worth the splurge. And it will be something that I repurchase. So this is a double duty thing. Like I said, not just a makeup-y concealer that's just gonna put down color and dry you out and just be pigment. This actually has some treatment, some anti-wrinkle properties, and you know, maybe that's why my under eye areas looked better. I feel like I've just done better lately all around with the products I've been using, so you can kind of see the color works well. I use the Beauty Blender. I just dab it on. I'm not trying to like really pack it on there. I think that if you just really blend it out, and I think a Beauty Blender really does a good job of that. It really kind of blurs it without making it too like heavily on there. Oh my gosh, does that make sense? Dampen your Beauty Blender. You'll get the best coverage and just the, isn't that pretty? It works. For me, I do have an issue with shadows and circles, but ever since I was little, I always just have this like line, and it gets worse as you get older. This concealer, you guys, it doesn't feel like, it feels done. Like sometimes I don't do anything after that. Like I can leave it alone and it's great. So I love that. I get just a tad bit now. Used to, when I would really go to town and use this, I would be like I would put it all over here and then just blend it into my under eye. But when I need some extra help, use one that matches your skin tone or that's just slightly lighter, and then use a product like this and put it kind of in those areas where you would. I haven't put any powder on my face, it's just foundation. Kind of right there. Don't get it too close up under your eyes. And then right there where that little dip is, maybe just stop it right there. So this is kind of my little go-to trick. And it kind of just is like a paintbrush. And it kind of paints down. I just always use my Beauty Blender. And this kind of gives you a nice like blend down to your face so that your eye area isn't just like circle of white and then nothing. I think this kind of blends into your actual makeup. Maybe let that sit a little too long. It's kind of, do you see what I'm saying? It kind of just like makes that eye area blend into the rest of your face. And everything I've used is so thin. And like I said, I don't pop foundation on my under eye first. So we're feeling like so good. And something about this is magic. It never looks makeup-y. It will not crease. It is crazy. It sets like a dream. You don't sorry, I'm like knocking over everything. You don't even need to like really set it, but I'm gonna show you what I do just to kind of help the whole thing last. So I told you guys about the Benefit Powder Flage, and I used to, at this point, put a little bit of that right there in that little dip, and it would be great. Of course, they discontinued that, so then I got the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder, and I used to use that all the time. I recently saw that Becca came out with one that's the Under Eye Brightening Setting Powder, and it's the same exact thing. I would say just go for the Laura Mercier, but using this recently just to see if I still like it, it is very, very, very shimmery. So I don't know. I mean, this is something I would just say maybe skip, and I'm gonna show you what I like instead. This has been what I've been using. Now, this powder is like an all-in-one thing. It's the Too Faced Peach Perfect Mattifying Loose Setting Powder. But y'all, it's different. It's not like so obnoxious. It's like so smooth. I don't like to set my actual skin with powder and feel powdery, but this feels like slippery and it doesn't feel powdery and heavy, and it has the best finish. But you can't pack it on. I'm just not about that. I don't think that ever really looks good in person. I mean, I'm sure you can do that and it looks great like in photos or whatever. Not always, so be careful. But I just think in real life, like for real life makeup, if you want to set your under eye, you have to be so careful. And I would definitely suggest this or this, which is the Translucent Setting Powder by Hourglass. And you guys have seen me use this Peach Perfect powder a lot to you know, do that little thing. I just barely take just the tiniest bit on this F87 brush. It's very like squishy, and I just get a little and just kind of like just put it right there. I don't put it here. There's no reason. You'll just look creepy. So what I do is, let me show you, because I have not used this one with you guys yet. I like the container. I mean, it keeps it right in that little middle part, you know, because this kind of shuts it in. But what I do is I take just a tad bit, you guys. I'm not talking much at all. And I even take it and kind of, you know, get it off a little bit. And then I put it just right here. I don't know if you can tell, I just feel like immediately it like blurs that little line and that little area. And it just sets it enough to where, I'm trying to keep my mirror on. It sets it enough just to where it like doesn't look cakey. It doesn't look like there's any finish to it at all other than just like real skin. I didn't do my blush or anything yet, but I'm gonna show you what I do. I've been using this Chanel new highlighter, which I will link to. I love this. So I've just been kind of doing that daily. The brush that comes with this is actually like real good too. And then a little bit of blush. I like to do that last, you know. Blush never goes up that far, but you don't want to be like blending it down like over these powder products, you know what I mean? You see, it's just so pretty. I feel like it's just such a good effect. Let me tell you the other under eye concealers I recommend. I know this one's pricey. I'm telling you, if you want to splurge, and you can look at it as more than just like a regular concealer that you can compare a million other ones to. It has a lot of like treatment, a lot of benefits, and I really do feel like my whole under eye area has just looked better since using that. But another one that you can get from the drugstore that I really love, and I don't want to say I believe it's just as good, because that's ridiculous, because now I'm like spending the money on that for what? I don't know, I just really love that by Terry, but the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser, I've talked about this for years as well. This is the shade Ivory, which I feel like might be just a hair too light for me, so I might pick up the other one. That's why I haven't used this much lately, but these are wonderful, you guys. I used to swear by these years and years ago, but you know, use this as your just regular like skin tone concealer, you know what I mean? Kind of like in the place of when I use that by Terry. That is wonderful, you guys. It really sets in a nice way without creasing. And another one that I have been into is this, the Benefit Boing Airbrush Concealer. Now they have another one called like, is it like illuminating or brightening? What is it? I don't know. The airbrush one, I believe, works better under your eyes. The finish, I think, blurs, you know, any sort of like textural things. It's a good concealer. Mine has dried out just a bit, but I like the finish of it. It's not super creamy. Like already it feels slippery and kind of just like nothing. So I like that if you're into a concealer like that. I remember the Boing, the original years ago. I didn't love it. I think that they've changed it and obviously added like different ones, but the one that says Airbrush is so good for your under eye area. Oh my gosh. Let me rant a little, I don't know, okay, now you guys have known I've talked about this before, but I got totally sucked into this because they repackaged it, the Tarte Creaseless Concealer. I hear Creaseless and I'm like, yes, let me get that, it looks new. This is the same one that was in that little tube that I talked about years ago that is like sticky, okay? It is just so sticky and I really don't get it. And like I used it years ago and I remember kind of liking it because at first glance, it is really like color correct. Like it is so sticky, y'all. It's really color correcting. It's like shiny, it's sticky. Like look at my hand, like it's concealing like all the veins in my hand, okay? Good stuff, right, for that. But you know, use a tiny bit. Like obviously you'd use just a few dots. But here's my thing, so I went through this years ago with this and I totally felt duped when I bought that because I was like, no, I should have known better. The idea with this is that it's creaseless. Now, I don't know if that's just because it never dries and sets, so they think, oh, well, you can just smear it around all day. Like, I don't love it. Like, and I have used just the tiniest amount and it just never does anything for me, like long term. Like, so I can use it and really feel satisfied in the moment because it conceals and I'm like, yay. But it's just too, something about it, like it's not as sticky as it was when I first applied it, but I'm just saying it's a little too shiny, a little too sticky. When it does set, it's very thick feeling. So, you know, I've heard people in the past, I remember a long time ago, someone said, oh, you have to put powder over it, you have to, and I'm thinking, okay, well, you guys saw that I put powder over mine, not because I felt like it was a product that was crap that I had to set. I just feel like, not that I'm saying this is crap, I'm just saying, if you're getting a concealer for the finish of it and you like the finish of it, or you're saying, oh, the finish of this is what makes it different, like I don't feel like you should have to put a powder over it because the finish of a product is sticky. Why? You know what I mean? Get a product that like works, that's on, and then put the powder on to add something. Do you know what I'm saying? To also, you know, kind of blur something to make it like a little seamless. But if something's sticky, I'm not piling powder on it to make it dry. And I hate that whole mentality with foundation. I think if you're gonna sweat, if you're gonna get oily, you are still gonna get oily. It's just gonna blend with your foundation and the powder and it's just gonna look like a mess. With something like that, I just feel, and this was always my experience, when you get through the day, it's still gonna crease, but it just looks thicker and goopier. So I don't really love that. Treatments, okay, so your eye area is gonna look like crap no matter what you do if you don't take care of yourself. Like I said, get as much sleep as you can, drink a lot of water. I am so guilty of not always doing that. And I feel like when I am more hydrated, this area just looks so much more plump and like just so much better, obviously. But I love these. I think a lot of this kind of stuff is gimmicky, but these little Peter Thomas Roth eye patches, they come in some different types too. I think they have like some gold ones. I think these are just kind of an all-around good one to have because they give you a lot of hydration. They kind of wake you up a little bit. They're very refreshing. They take swelling down if you're a little puffy. So I think these that say cucumber detox are kind of like a genius kind of all-in-one. This, the Colleen Rothschild Retinol Supreme Eye Serum, like I said, I feel like it has really changed this whole area. I will never be without this at night. It works so well. And I recently just got this, the La Mer, which I always really loved. So it's kind of like, I mean, you could use either one. You could use this during the day sometime, like if you're not gonna do super heavy makeup or whatever. I would just kind of put that on. It could be a treatment. You could kind of alternate it with this since this is a retinol, whatever you want to do, but this is also a really good option if you're not going to use like a retinol product. I would say splurge on a night treatment for sure. I love this Hydra Beauty one, which is really light to put on during the daytime. And this is cool too. I mean, I don't feel like I have such an issue with like puffiness or anything like that. I do these cucumber detox patches mainly just because I feel like it gives me a ton of hydration and like really plumps them up. But I love this if you've had like a pretty rough night, or you wake up, you're upset or something, and you just have like, you know, like puffy, gross eyes. The Clinique All About Eyes Serum, the depuffing roll-on eye massage. It has, you know, the silver or the metal ball on the inside, and it just is cold and it just feels good to kind of like moisturize that area. So it's a serum, you know, it's gonna give you a little bit of hydration and kind of like suck back the puffiness. But lately I've really wanted something that kind of just gives me like kind of a plump effect, or like basically just hydration. So that's why I love these little eye patches. I use those in the morning, and this Touch of Pearl I really feel like gives me a ton of hydration. So I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope that you liked me filming in my bathroom today. I'll link to everything that I'm wearing. Oh my gosh, you guys, I should have talked about this first because I'm obsessed. But I got this new necklace, and I'm pretty obsessed with it. But I will link to it. I love it so much. And it's like a pretty like real gold with diamonds. It's just really nice. And then this is just a little like off the shoulder top, just super cute. And I'll link to that too. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys have a great weekend, and I will talk to you all very soon. Bye guys.